Hello everyone. I hope you all have joined this session. If you have joined, please, if you can hear us, let me know in the comments. You can write on the YouTube or Facebook, any platforms you want.
Hello, everyone.
Let's say where you are from and say hi on the comments. So today is basically the 11th session of Open Source Connect. Let me remove it. So today is basically the 11th session of Open Source Connect. Last time we had session with Faseela, who gave us insights on KubeCon scholarship, open source contribution, like how you can contribute to Linux Foundation. So today's different from the rest of the session because today we will be discussing some of the production grade tool that you can use. Like if, for example, there are people who are from university and also beginner who don't know about like how to like manage in production, like how to write production code or something. So we will be discussing those certification exam that you can give, and we have some special guest with us who is a Golden Kubestronaut who passed every single exam that's on the Linux Foundation. So yeah, so we
Hi.
are really great to have Oliver here, who is from Belgium. So Oliver will introduce himself to us. So
Hi, hello,
the stage is
everyone.
yours.
I'm Oliver. I live in Belgium, but I'm French, and I'm a Golden Kubestronaut since last December. And I'm hoping that today we'll be able to share my journey with you, some insights and tips and tricks. So don't hesitate to ask in the comments. I have prepared something. Shall we start?
Yeah, shall we can get started now? And if you have any question, you can write on the comments here. We will then highlight your comments and Oliver will answer your comments. So you can share your slides, Oliver, if you have any.
Okay, then up, up,
Yeah, I can see your slides. Edit.
and up.
Do let me know who are joining from YouTube or Facebook, like if you can see the slides Oliver just presented. Hello, Ubaid from Bangladesh. Thank you for joining.
Okay, I will not be able to show the comments during the slides, so don't hesitate to let me know if you want me to stop to answer. So that's great. Let's start then. So thanks for welcoming me to your Open Source Connect Bangladesh session. I'm Oliver, like I said, and today I'm going to share with you about a few topics. But first, who I am and what am I doing? So I'm working as a site reliability engineer at Worldline. Worldline is specialized in electronic payments in Europe. It serves as backbones between stores, web merchants, banks all across the world. And so that's my main job. And as a side hustle, I'm also a freelance cloud architect by night. I've been working now since more than 10 years. And on the last 6 years and more, I've been specialized myself into CNCF tools projects, but also infrastructure as code through HashiCorp. But like I say, I also like to eat tofu sometimes because that's how the industry has evolved those last year. So you can find more information on my portfolio and on my GitHub account. So let's view our today topics. So first we are going to talk about the shift left uh, movement, let's say, and what it's meant on your day-to-day. And then I will share my CNCF journey. And we will finish by a bit of talk about the AI infrastructure in the current days nowadays, because one of my customer for my side also is Miah startup. So I'm hearing a lot of things from this customer, but also internally at Worldline. So once upon a time in the life of a developer, it was simple. You just had to work on your code, throw it on your Git, and wait for others to test it and tell you that you messed up. Now, it's not working like that anymore. You have to be certain that every commit that you send are valid and are following your firm best practice and guardrails. So that's what we get heard nowadays as shift left, because it means that your code has to pass before joining the main branches of your project a lot of tests to ensure several things: quality of code, security of the code towards library dependency, because you can see it every day. We had in the last weeks, we had the Trivi exploit incident. Every day, every year, got us a lot of security incidents, and those incidents does has an impact in your day-to-day, in your software supply chain, and it can affect your end product at the end. So now more responsibility are being pushed toward the developer to ensure that they are following from the start the best practice. So what does that mean in practical terms? That means the usage of CI/CD pipeline, so continuous integration. Every commit are passing through the same amount of steps before being able to do your merge request. Continuous delivery means that your project will move from stage to stage until either a public registry, if we are talking about a container, or a public library registry, and that needs to be done in order. And at the end, for those releases, now we have also continuous deployment. So without any human action, the commit you are just push will be live running in infrastructure. So that's a lot to take in. That's a lot to digest, and that require a proper learning from the developer, but also the proper teams to help those guardrails to be set in place. So that's not only on the developer side, it's on the ops side. And nowadays, either DevOps team or an SRE team, depending on your firm vocabulary and methodology in place. So those terms and those practices can be used across several layers. So the most common now is containers on my side for infrastructure. So it's using Docker, containers if you are more agnostic, multi-stage build. So you can face caching issue for that. So I've been myself in position where I was dealing with container images which were weight more than 20 gigabytes. So it was very too big to use like that. So we had to rework those containers. And then with Kubernetes, you have the orchestration to deal with. How are you going to deploy it, in which scenario, and how to handle the upgrade path. Like we saw previously, you have the CI/CD, so whatever you're using, GitHub Action, GitLab, Azure DevOps, someone has to care of the pipeline. And now those pipelines are also treated like software releases. So it's not just one file, copy-paste among a lot of different repositories. Now the pipelines are a product, are an internal product, which are following the same practices than any Python's project. So we had to validate a YAML lint test, for example, he had to pace ephemeral environment just to validate those actions. And thanks God, that is really helpful to avoid the shallow work, to avoid having duplicate code everywhere. And with the usage of tool like Renovate, you can have automatic merge request opening on project to follow the release of new pipelines. So that's lead to, obviously, to infrastructure as code. I'm a huge user of infrastructure as code, mostly through Terraform. I've been using Terraform since many years, from just creating virtual machine to creating a whole AWS organization. So you can do almost everything as long as you have a good provider and a good community also. And what has been a shift those last year, it's the observability. When I learned the tech, it was just Nagios, it was Centreon, it was Probe, Shell script, etc. Now it's Prometheus, Alert Manager. You have to have Grafana agent running on your machine, which are exposing node exporter that are being consumed by Prometheus and those tools. So it changed a lot. And that's really a new set of skills to learn there. And obviously, security is everywhere now. So you can't avoid feedback from either automatic tooling. So in order, a simple example, in order for your merge request to pass, you have to validate the security stages. And as long as your pipeline is not green, you have to rework yourself, your work. You have to fix your dependency and fix the CVE at the source that you're working on. So that's a lot. And we could say that before we were doing a lot of manual action. I've done those, connecting to a server, downloading packages, which could be either Yum, apt, a Git repository, doing make install command lines, and just watching the output of those commands and say, okay, now it's working. And then I could call back my customer and say, oh, can you test now? Now it has to be declarative. So here the example is with Kubernetes, but I've seen example way more complex at KubeCon this year using Blueprint Operator and IDP, so with Backstage, and that was really mind-blowing for me. So if you're interested, I highly suggest you to dig into those topics. Let's hit a small pause now if there is any question before we head towards the CNCF certification journey. Is there any question for me at the moment?
Question. You can write on the comments if you have any questions till the slides like CI/CD on.
Okay.
If you have any question regarding CI/CD and others, you can write on the chat or we will deal with it later. Other questions. So let's get.
Okay, let's.
So you can start. You can go on.
So the CNCF certification journey that I did last year from an SRE to a Golden Kubestronaut, for me it has been quite an adventure, and I'm going to share this adventure with you and to tell you what has been helpful and what I gained from it in many aspects. So first I have to set a few dates right. I was out of school in 2013. French school, almost no certification, then a security one, and I failed to get my LPIC one, which was a Linux one, and I just went straight into work, doing system administration work, doing system engineering work, sleeping in data center, building stuff the hard way with my Linux knowledge, Windows project also at the time. And it has been 7 years of keeping the learning alive with the project I was on, the curiosity, but also building experiences. through that. Until back in 2020, I was able to go back into certification because in 2020 we were already being hit by the Docker wave. It was everywhere. GitLab was also really strong at the time, and we were already speaking a lot about CI/CD. And I got a support from my firm at the time, and I've been able to hit back the LPIC 1, which is a Linux Professional Institute, level 1, which is mainly Linux 1, QCM 1, but it's one of the most valid still alive today in 3 different levels. So it's a 2 exam session, QCM 1, but really a hard question. I failed more than once. And in 2021-22, I was able to pass CKD, CKA, and CKS, which were the only Kubernetes certification at the time. And those alone let me show to my firm enough skills for them to give me an OpenShift project with a bank customer in Belgium. And the goal was simple. This customer wanted OpenShift without knowing why they wanted OpenShift and what they could do with OpenShift. So with the team I was part of, we had to care of everything for them. We had to enlighten them about Kyverno, about Istio for the networking, how to deal with backup, how to match their identity with Airbag in order to have a straight security policy. So it was really a nice project. We had 4 OpenShifts living across several data centers. We had to take care of upgrades. We were helping them with Flux CD already for their GitOps releases. And it was really great experience for me, and I learned a lot from them. And as many projects, it has to face an end at some times. And I switched jobs in 2023. And at the time, I became a SRE, and I was only looking to renew my CTA because the KCA and KCNA was already out at the time, but I had no interest to renew them all because those were associate level. And by looking at the synopsis, I was able to see that I was already good with those. But then in 2024, the CNCF during KubeCon India announced the Kubestronaut program, and I got trapped in it. And I say, okay, let's go. Let's get them all. So where do we stand now today? So on the number given on the Amsterdam KubeCon, we are now 3,500 Kubestronauts, and we are about 350 Golden Kubestronauts across the world. CNCF itself was astonished by the success, and this success is only getting stronger and stronger every year. So they are adding more certification. I will talk to that a bit later. And this year, a new Kubernetes certification should arrive, and this one will be dedicated to network. So it's going to add another good practical exam because yes, CKA, CKD, and CKS are practical exam, and for me they are the best because they are really challenging, and you have to do the work. You have to face situation, and you have to get out of it by yourself, by just your skill and your experiences. And I highly recommend them. Since I did those, I love them. I love them. They are just so great. So let's focus a bit on Bangladesh now. What are the Bangladesh Kubestronaut situation? So now you are, I think, 19. And in Belgium, when I started Kubestronaut, we were only 8. And now there is 3 Golden Kubestronauts for a total of 25 Kubestronauts. So in just a matter of 1 year, we more than double it, the number. And so in Bangladesh, I was able to see that you have one Golden Kubestronaut, and forgive me if I say the name wrong, Mokit Hossain from the firm Optimizeli, and you are up to 18 Kubestronauts. And I'm sure that at the end of the year, this number will have grown drastically. But you got Kubestronaut, and what now? But now you have, since last year, you have the Golden Kubestronaut path. So I didn't get into the detail of the perks about what to do and what to get from those programs. So now it's a good time to go deeper on it. So when you pass the level of Kubestronaut, you get one nice thing, which is this blue jacket that I really like. It's a really nice perk to get, but it's not just that. It's not just marketing, because you get access to a Slack channels. You get access with a voucher for next certification. You get reduction for KCD event and KubeCon. And you can meet a lot of your fellow Kubestronauts in this event and just keep growing. And if you are up to, you can face the Golden Kubestronaut challenges. And this Golden Kubestronaut is being able to have all the CNCF certification plus the LFCS, which is a Linux associate level from CNCF, active at the same time. So for me, it was 15 certification to get, all active in the same amount of time. And now the level of validity of a certification is 2 years. So you have 2 year time to cross now 16, but like I said, 16 certification. So what are those certifications? Those certifications are Prometheus 1, PCA, Prometheus Certified Associate. You have Open Telemetry, OTCA. You have GitOps, CGOA. You have Kappa for Argo. You have CNP for Platform Engineering. You have Kyverno. You have Backstage. You have Cilium. You have Istio. And the Kubernetes, of course, to get. So it's a long list. And for me, how did it went? So I started the Kubestronaut in January last year, and I got it in April. And then it took me from April to December to get all of those. And I failed some exam. I failed the OTC, so the open telemetry, because it was really deep in new vocabulary and new concept for me to digest, which were new. So it was really great for me. My take from it is that it's an extra year of study. That's how I am telling over about it, because in that 1 year time, I was able to go learning about so many different topics, from container, pipelines, deployment, governance, security, Linux administration, telemetry. It was just mind-blowing. So I can just hardly recommend that if you are curious to go for it, because you will learn a lot. So how to do it? So for me, few things helped me. A lot of books help for sure, because when I did it last year, not all of the exam were available as a training. I'm a user of Code Cloud since 2020. There are really good training, really good labs, and they are often recommended for good reason, because they are good. But I will add few books at this list. Few that are common now as a recommendation. I will start by the Phoenix project and the Unicorn project, and as an addition, the DevOps handbooks. And in order to keep your learning going and structural, I will add the science of learning. So one thing, deep work, and my current reading is from Cloud Native to AI Native. And if you have any doubt about those books, come to me and I will share links and practical information about it. Because by reading those books, by making my study habits evolving, for now, for example, another example, I joined a Discord server during this year with other people following some also the Golden Kubestronaut that I've met few months later in Amsterdam, but also just some students doing their study across the world and which were only looking to keep motivation up, keep gaining certification, and just receiving help and feedback from others which were doing the same. So think about how to do it, find a community to help to support your goal. It's not just a technology problem. You have to follow good habits, be focused, and be yeah, I just did be focused and just to go through it. Set the goal, set the pace. Don't look at how rapidly others are doing. Everyone is different. Everyone is doing their own thing, but there is a lot of tools that you can help to get there. So the most important thing will still be the help and support from your family, whatever groups you can find to support your growth, and your colleagues if you had good mates. So do I regret this journey? So this is a picture from KubeCon Amsterdam. It represents all the Kubestronauts which were present and also the Golden Kubestronaut. And the answer is no, I don't regret it. And it was costly for sure. For me, it was more than $3,000 of CNCF purchase. But I use every equipment available, and you could find groups in LinkedIn that are providing coupons, which are providing voucher to help to cut those prices, because the prices went up last year, but along the year there is a lot of sales and you can find really good prices. So don't be obsessed about the price. You can work your way into. So I'm done with my journey. I think I'm ready to go forward into the AI infrastructure link and my feedback about KubeCon. I don't know if there is question for me to answer.
Yeah, there are questions. Three questions actually.
Okay, let's see them.
One is here. Asim Hamid. So his question was, can you share the changes of your job role, what you have to do, new thing in SRE, like site reliability engineer, and what haven't you done in DevOps?
Okay, so the differences for me about those two roles was all about the maturity level of the firm. Because when I was working as an system engineering slash DevOps, it was mostly pipeline, but it was still on the classic infrastructure. So with virtual machine, I spoke about my OpenShift project, but it was just a very small part of the infrastructure these days. And it was always linked to automation of common things. And moving to SRE meant to move to a new methodology of working. If you are looking to a SRE, you will heard about the pizza size teams, which that an SRE teams should not be more than the amount of the size of pizza slices. Why? Because you have to keep communication easy, to keep a group team spirit, and to have a dedicated responsibility area. So, for example, the SRE team I'm part of, we are not managing thousands of services. We are responsible of a scope application range. We have few applications, few services, but we are managing from the bottom to the high. So it's you build it, you run it, you own it. So it is really a difference for me in terms of maturity within the firm that are making changes between a DevOps role and an SRE role. I will also add that maybe as a DevOps, you will be more on multiple projects at the same time. And as an SRE, you are more dedicated to a part of the services. That's all. I hope I answered the question.
I hope that answers Asim's question. Now let's go to another question. We have Obaid bin Sufyan Bhaiya. So many beginners jump into Kubernetes early. In your opinion, what should someone be able to do before learning Kubernetes to avoid just memorizing commands without understanding?
That's a good question. I'm having that a lot. And I would say that just like buildings, you have to good to have you have to have good foundation. And nowadays those foundation are Linux. You have to breathe Linux, you have to eat Linux at some part, and you have to be proficient with your Linux skills. And I get what you say about memorizing command lines without understanding it. In these days, it's more easy to just search than to understand. And I would say start with Linux, put the container aside at the start, stick with system, CTL, services. Start with web services, Apache, Nginx, WordPress, just classic thing that you help to grow in your skill set with Linux, and then you will be more proficient with Kubernetes because Kubernetes is very broad. You can go with the Linux module dependency at the action. If you are looking with Cilium, with eBBF, you are passing under IP table layer, so it can be very technical. And I just want to say that being golden doesn't mean you know everything. It just means that you are been studying those topic. Mastery of those topic is really another situation, another topic, because it's so broad. You have so many topics to look into it. So foundation work are necessary. And when I'm facing over, which are telling me about their Kubernetes experiences, by just the way they are talking about it, that's how you understand if they have good foundation or not. When you are making at some level, you will be facing interview, and you will not just be the interviewee, you will be the one giving the interview. And by having strong Linux, you will be able to understand those and identify the one which are not just using command line from memory, understand them. Sorry, it's Friday, my English is a bit tired.
Worries. So I hope that answers your questions. So foundation knowledge is important for you during interviews. So now we go to Asim Hamid again.
Yeah.
So his question is like before going into certification journey or before going into native tools, what are the prerequisites we need to learn?
Like I say, cloud native is also a very broad world now, so there is a lot to do in it. But yeah, again, Linux can be a good answer, but it could also be Windows, because there is now a lot of open source which are coming from the Windows world. I have one in mind, which is the Octopus deploy. And then if you are a developer, you can get programming languages. It can be either Python, Go, or Rust. I'm not a developer myself, but I know to read Pythons. I know to do a bit of Go because that's what my job asks me to be able to do. But I'm still not a developer, but I can manage and find something that you love and go deep on it. And then you will find a journey, and you will see where this journey will lead you into native tool. But yeah, again, good foundation, and then just one step at a time.
Also, I think we can advise like, for example, in Bangladesh context, like lots of people get stuck on the programming language. Like they depend on programming language alone. So we might say that you can also try to learn advanced stuff as well. Like there are so many things, innovations happening, AI things is happening.
Yeah.
So you have to like get ahead, like try to learn, manage time and learn so many things. So yep.
Mm. And if you need to have guardrails and easy path planned for you, Code Cloud has a really nice learning path that they are building. They have their Cube Engineer program also. When you can join like a fake employee under a fake firm and just do uh, Linux action that will help build experience on it. I played a bit with that also at the time, but yeah, they have a cloud engineer learning path. You can just follow it, and you will, I'm sure, feel more confident about it at the end. But I will say, as long as you are getting certification, try to always match one certification with a practical project because it will help you at two levels, I would say. One, that it will be fun because it's important to have fun doing both certification, and it will help you uh, engrave those learning into yourself because you will have a practical example to face with these new skills. For example, with OpenTelemetry, when I was done with it, I was able to embark into a small project to add an OpenTelemetry agent into a Java application. And I'm still working on it nowadays to have the tracing, to have the logs in the way I want. Because if you think Java, you think multi-line logs and you don't want to touch it. So it's fun to be able to fix those classic issues now with Cloud Native tooling.
But now I think issues can be solved because we have so many like AIs here, so we can easily like many people can easily solve those issues. But before AI, we like solving those issues were difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also you can go to the CNCF landscape. There are so many tools and projects available. You can just look at like start with the graduated projects like Kubernetes and others. Then for Kubernetes, you also like need observability. So if you start with Kubernetes, start also add some observability tool as well. So that can help you
Because those tools
projects.
are not just linked to Kubernetes. You can run them outside of Kubernetes in your own laptop and play with it before going into a layer of a Kubernetes workload. And then you will just meet them again in a different form, but you will know how to deal with it.
Yes. So try those tools and projects and you're good to go if
Yeah.
you're a student.
For example,
So I think
my go-to of those last months has been Kairos. Kairos, which is an immutable OS project. So that means that you can't install anything on it that you didn't plan to have in your operating system. And that's really a swift when you are speaking, when you are thinking that 10 years ago you were just putting the CD, the ISO into the machine and then just running your apt command line to get your tool. Now you have to plan those ahead, build the container images that will be used as a support for the installation of the operating system. So yeah, it's really fun to play with those.
yes.
So try
I think
those.
there's also playground as well. You can try out.
Yeah.
We can also provide them the link later if required. So yep, you can go ahead with the infrastructure link. I
Okay.
think yes.
So Amsterdam KubeCon was my first KubeCon, and for me it was like Christmas. I was able to be there for the 4 days, but I had not access to the co-located event on the first day, and I went to a side session, which was Kuboto Day, where I met people from Nanatech World, Code Cloud, also Michael Forrester, and I had a great session about AI, about the infrastructure. So the last slide are going to be more comments, and I'm going to share my feeling about it, what I can share about my practical experience, which are still ongoing with those. But for to start, really, if you can go to KubeCon, go. It's an amazing experience. I've been able to meet so many people. You mentioned Faseela K at the beginning. I've been able to bump into her. I've been able to speak to Linson, the other coacher, Abby Bankster too, and even I had even a session with the new one, Abdel from Google, which we are hosting a session about finding your voice speech to do panel to do session. So it was really interesting. I met Mumshan Munanbad from Code Cloud. Everyone was really accessible and best time of my life of a tech guy. So next one is in Mumbai, and I can hardly recommend that you should go there. I'm pushing all my colleagues to go there, even my bosses. So it's not just a technical event; it's a cultural event, which where you can hear about technical topic, but also business topic, governance topic at many layers. So let's go for it.
Yes.
So
Also, there's networking there as well. Like you can network with so many industry experts, like directors from different company. They also hire people from there. So yeah,
yeah,
it's like it's traveling if you
yeah,
go there. Yes.
there is a
And
job
for
there.
students, there's also scholarships you can apply for. Like if you're on financial barrier and you need some help with traveling there, you can apply for those. So
Yeah,
yeah, I will share the link on the comments. You can
yeah.
go ahead, Oliver.
Fassila really explained it well on your session with her. So I can't add more than you just did about it.
Yeah, sure, no worries. I will share the link on the comments.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to share here just few information that I looked into about what AI meant for infrastructure side. So here you can see that from the Research Institute of Sweden, they have been able to say that in order to train GPT-4, NVIDIA had to play with 25,000 units or graphic card A100 for a duration of 100 days for a cost of $100 million. So those numbers are insane, but those numbers are already from yesterday, and today's it's just getting bigger and bigger. I have no found any more recent leak or news about it, but just look at the price of memory, how it went on the last month. It's crazy. So there is a lot of needs of people in the infrastructure side to deal with those models. And uh, so, of course, we are talking here about data center, but don't forget that model can also be living in your computer. There is a small open source model available, so you have a lot to play with. So don't hesitate to try those. It's really interesting. There is a lot to learn with that because you could just open a ChatGPT session, uh, ask a question, converse with it, and just forget it. But nowadays, from what I hear at the KubeCon session, it's becoming even more complex, but more interesting. For example, for the MCP part, that I'm still a learner about it, you are starting to have really nice brick of infrastructure around it. So you could have just one MCP server running on top of Kubernetes and have all your agents behind it available to be reached. So instead of just replicating your CloudWork or Cloud or GPT session and settings from computer to computer, you could just target one endpoint and have all your tools, your agent, your skills available at any time. And doesn't that looks familiar? Because it just looks like software release management. So we are getting there, we are already there, and there is new tools and project to help us manage that. So, for example, At KubeCon, I've been able to look at a session about Volcano, which is a CNCF project about inferring. And to be frank, I didn't understand a lot at the time. They were talking about KV of GPU card and really technical, but really interesting. So I put you on these images, few topics which are still relevant for today. So we have GPU scaling, how to manage a fleet of GPU card on your Kubernetes. So the load can be shared equally for your tenants. So that's already something that is there. NVIDIA is a strong contributor on that. They have donated their driver to CNCF, and they are really active. You have no ML pipeline with Kubeflow and Argo workflow. And I'm just keeping hearing, okay, we need to have an ML platform on, okay, how to deal with ML pipeline. And that will require people to do those tasks. And then you still have the same question, how to scale, how to be able to get more power when we have more requests. So this is back to Kubernetes with the auto-scaling features and the new HEP also, and how to be sure, how to be certain that the security of the answer and the question are safe. So it's still, again, back-to-back security, it's MTLS session, namespace, how to deal with priority, how to deal with multiple model in order to deal that. And not any firm has an answer yet for that. And if you're looking at the job description that can show up, you can see more and more about AI engineer, but also some other like head of AI, which is already a thing for more than 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Big firms are getting whole department about AI. They are getting a whole AI policy for them to send their user, and that will link to identity platform, with Backstage, how to deliver more value to developers so they are able to create safe feature, safe releases, and faster releases with the help of AI. So it's still a really hot topics. And just talk about Volcano, about NVIDIA GPU, but still Prometheus and Grafana for those who are really after, okay, what metric should we get from this model? And how do we ensure that we are delivering at good capacity? They have already a few really nice projects to just dig in it. So let's go. Myself also, I have to dig into this because I'm receiving those asks from my superior. Are you familiar with AI? How will you do that? How should we have a platform for that? And there is no straight answer really yet. But most of the time, it will be based on Kubernetes platform because Kubernetes is, with the AI workload, put even more as a new industry standard for dealing with services. And I wanted to finish those slides by the donation which has been made by the Solo.io firm, which I find really interesting. So during one of the keynotes, they donated live the agent registry. And I really like that because I'm working day to day with Artifactory from JFrog. And not just JFrog, there is Arbor, there is registry public like Quay or Docker Hub, and you have to have those artifacts, those libraries somewhere, and you have to manage them. You have to manage their storage, you have to manage their lifescale. And that's, like I said earlier, it's going to be the same with agent, with skills, etc. And those tools are now there to help with that. So I'm still learning myself into those, and they are having a really nice lab. So let's go get them and have fun with those. And that's the end for me. I hope you had a good session, and I thank you for having me. So if you have any more questions, let's have those.
Yeah, that's really wonderful talk, Oliver. So we have another question here from Obaid, and he's sharing his experience. So he have learned like about 12 factor methodology from Cloud and Linux commands and bash scripting for beginners from Nana Tech World.
Yeah,
Really insightful. Yeah, he's sharing his experience.
yeah, it's
So
really
thank you, by the way, for sharing his experience. And another question from Kid Story 438. So do you have a total ML expert before going into ML ops sites?
what do you mean by sites?
I think it's websites, ML ops websites, something. I think it's talking about tutorial or something.
Because you
Uh,
don't have to be MLOps side. Okay.
oh, site, yeah.
No, you don't have you. I was not, and I'm still not consider myself a full Kubernetes expert because things are just keeping evolving, and you just have to be curious and find the opportunity and just be there and show them that you are willing to do the job. You will have hiccups, you will make mistakes, but you are going to go there and to fix their needs, to solve their issue and deliver. But so no, don't be stressed about, oh, I don't have all those certification. I will never get this job. Do what you can. Plan if you want to get those certification. Plan ahead. Plan your certification. For example, I give myself 2 months to do that, and then I will do that, etc. Don't try to do 100 things at the same time. Just be focused and you will see the result. I've seen those. By doing this journey, I received opportunity to grow internally. I've been able to connect with more people like yourself, and I'm really grateful. It opened my eyes on the community side, and I want to be active in project. In just you can start by just doing documentation cleanup. You know,
That's I hope that answers your question. Kid Story 2438. And I think that's QL for slides, Oliver.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the QR code. Yeah. You can
Not
also add that.
this QR code for me. I could provide the slide to you later.
Oh yeah. I
I've not.
think there's also options in this QR code to add QR code here, stream here.
Yeah,
So
it's
let me just
just for my
yeah.
phone. No problem.
Yeah, so it's yeah. We will share you the slides. You can
Yeah, I will send
like
those.
you can also yeah. DM me or Oliver on LinkedIn. You will find us on LinkedIn. You can also like message us if you
Yeah,
need the slide. We will provide you the slides.
and I can
And
answer.
any question you have regarding the AI or certifications, Oliver is here to help. Like if you all want to start with certification, there's also discount going on in the certification, like 35% for the KubeCon Europe that just held. So they're giving out 35% off on your certifications.
Yeah.
If you want to start with CKA, the Kubernetes administrator, you can also start with that.
And when you are at the KubeCon, don't hesitate to stop at the Learning Lounge. Don't hesitate to inquiry about those, and you could also win some nice coupon there. And just by attending the KubeCon, you will receive, I think, a 60% voucher of in a
Yeah,
certification.
that's really amazing. Like you are saying a lot. Like those exams are worth like 50,000, 60,000 taka in Bangladesh, and on other countries it's like worth more than that.
Yeah,
So
Europe, the price were $2,000 US dollar to attend the KubeCon.
oh yeah, there's but it's worth it. So we have a question from Inzamul Reza. So if I want to learn cloud engineer, what should I start? Like no, like he's asking for a roadmap. Cloud
Yeah,
engineer.
it depend. It depend about where you are right now. But I would say for cloud engineering, so it's all about cloud provider. You have to choose at the beginning one of them and just do your classes with them. But I would say that I've been able to work on the three big cloud provider: Azure, Google, and AWS. So I would say that AWS has the more complex layer of services because were there early. Azure, it's they have a nice learning documentation, but the all three, what do they have? They have good infrastructure as code provider. So CSE graduate, okay, okay. I don't know what CSE exactly stands
Like
for.
he is asking, like he is a CSE graduate, like he graduated from computer science and engineering.
Okay,
So he's
okay.
asking a roadmap, like
Yeah,
how, like from Jizo, how we can get started.
start building a project on one and try to learn one service at a time and build projects. Obviously not expensive project, but break things and you will learn on. For me, with cloud provider, at every attempt I made with them, I always went back to infrastructure as code because it helped me to have the big picture. I avoid the console, the web console, and I was able to focus on the service and what I was about to deliver. So if it was database platform, so I knew I had to deal with database services, and I just plan my work with infrastructure as code and execute the infrastructure as code and just iteration by iteration, I added features. Like for big starters, I just added one node with one database, but at the end it was many databases at the same time with replication towards multiple sites and with integrated backup and alerting. So I would say that infrastructure as code with cloud provider are a good way to start.
Hope that answers your question. You can also use projects like Terraform as well.
Yeah,
There's a lot of tools available on CNCF landscape,
yeah. You
more
have
than
also
1,000. Yeah.
OpenTofu and all of those are nice.
So, any more questions? If you have any questions, let me know. And if you don't, we will end the session. I think there are no questions, I guess. So, we can end it right now, Oliver.
Thank you for having me. I had a
Yeah,
great.
Oliver, thanks for accepting our invitation and joining us today. It was really like amazing. I think we had the large, this is the, I think, 1 hour session for the first time we had in a
Oh,
long time. So thanks.
no problem.
Yeah, it was really like lots of people, I think, learned a lot from you. So I hope if you need to learn more from Oliver, you can go through his LinkedIn. You will find also if you find his company, like where he's worked from, so you can get advice from him as well on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
don't hesitate.
So thank you, Oliver, for joining. I think we are signing off. So
Have a
bye,
good
everyone.
day. Bye bye.
Have a good night. You're Bangladesh. So yeah, let's end the stream.